Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 57 of Video Game Club. As always, I am your host, Tyler, and I have with me today the Shepherd, Austin.
Oh,
Hello.
that was nice.
And it would not be a Video Game Club episode without the Puzzle Maiden herself, Mox.
Oh, God. That's a big, I didn't live up to that this time.
Oh, no.
I know.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
It's kind of like a quiet weekend over here. I don't know about you guys, but like the weather's changing. You know, it's getting a little cold, a little like cloudy.
Still 90 degrees over here.
Wow. Not everyone can have 4 seasons, you know? What have you been playing besides Catherine Mox?
I got, oh God, I already forgot what it was called. Strange Horticulture. And it's actually like a mouse and keyboard game, but I was determined because it had, you guys told me about Proton DB and it was like gold or platinum or something. And I was like, I'm going to play it. And it works real well.
On your Steam Deck.
Yeah, sorry. You have to type the names of the plants. It's kind of like that game that I picked so long ago, Return of the Obra Dinn, where the world has rules that you don't know and your job is to figure it out. But it works so well. You just type little things with your little fingers on the keyboard and, you know, move the little trackpads around for the mouse. It worked really well. It's a fun game.
Haven't you been playing Somnium Files too?
Yeah, I don't have as good things to say about that. I beat that
Whoa.
game. I know. I really liked, and I actually thought it was something from the 999 Virtue's Last Reward, all that like universe, and I was waiting for there to be some sort of, I don't know, tie-in, but there really wasn't. There's no overlap, and it has different, like, I don't know how to put it, like a different shtick. It wasn't very good. I didn't like it. I'm kind of sad about it.
So it's about as related as like Drakengard and Nier.
I guess. I mean, but
like
even
they're
that
technically in the universe,
yeah.
but not related really much at all.
I mean, like, I was hoping, well, I don't want to spoil it 999 or anything, but there was no, like, crossover. Like,
Right.
There was no even reference to the happenings of those other games, which are, like, every game has some apocalyptic theme. And so, you know, I was expecting it to call back to one of those things, but it didn't. And the theme of it was even totally different, which I was kind of frustrated about. And, like, the whole thing about the 999 games, or which is whatever his name is, I forget his name, the guy that makes it, is like, there's a twist, and it's a huge thing that if you followed the breadcrumbs, you would have figured it out, but it doesn't make sense until, like, all the pieces fall into place. And this one was just kind of meh. I'm sad about it. Apparently, there's a second AI Somnium Files thing. I'm, like, not even excited about that. I was really sad.
Dang. All right.
I know.
Speaking of stuff that like is connected in the universe, like Drakengard and Nier, they announced recently that Deathloop and Dishonored are in like the same universe. So
Does that fit? I haven't really played Deathloop.
I mean, supposedly it's like in the future, and there's like some references at the very end of the game to Dishonored, but I don't know. I didn't get that far in it. So, what have you been playing, Austin?
You and I tried Dragon Ball: The Breakers.
We did. We've been playing that.
It's a hard game.
It is
At least
hard
for the survivors.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I mainly focused on Catherine. I tried some little bits and bobs here and there, but haven't really gotten to focusing on anything.
Has there been any like small game that you've played for like, you know, going through your backlog or whatever, how you like try some stuff out? Has there been anything that stood out to you?
I tried Shadow Complex Remastered today, and I was like, almost immediately I was turned off because it was like they were trying to do a serious cutscene in this 2D, like 3D but side-scrolling, like very low quality engine. I was like, I want to skip the cutscene, but then I started playing and it was like, oh, there's some interesting mechanics here, and so I haven't gotten very far into it, but it at least works well so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
I started Scorn. It just came out, and don't go into this game with any expectations because I feel like it's been, at least to me, it was presented as something a bit different than what it is. I think it's like a more of a puzzle game, like a puzzle walking simulator type.
Oh, you've intrigued me.
Horror game. It's not. I haven't found it that scary yet, personally. But one thing I will say is like for like the whole first, I'll call it like the first level. There's no combat or weapon at all. Like you just walk and do the puzzle. And,
is the puzzle like The Witness, where it's just like I don't know. The Witness, as much as I like puzzles and it's a walking simulator, it's just kind of like there's nothing else to it. That's it.
No, it's not like that. It's bigger than that. The puzzles are much more intricate and bigger.
There's an objective too. I think you're trying to escape wherever you are.
Yeah. They don't
How
really
about like Myst?
They don't really tell you anything. I feel like Myst is probably more aligned with yeah. But it's very creepy, and I don't know. I'm having like an okay time with it so far. It makes you feel smart when you solve the puzzles, which is fun. That's what puzzles are supposed to do. I played a lot of Pitcross co-op with my cousin.
Oh gosh, Pitcross,
which was really fun. And then I've been slowly chipping away at Metroid Zero Mission. I just got the wave beam, the one that like shoots through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, that game is good. Metroid Zero Mission, highly recommend. Very good so far. Anyway, before we get started, just as a reminder, this is Video Game Club. This isn't something where we just talk about what games we've been playing.
That's literally all we do.
That's very true, actually. And Video Game Club is a club, like a book club, but for video games, where every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord and discuss that game right here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV live on the stream. But if you can't catch us live, don't worry. You can find us on YouTube, all major podcast services. Thanks to our beloved friend, Andron, making all things possible. Also, if you appreciate what you're hearing, please consider subscribing, rating, commenting, all those fun things. And definitely feel free to like nominate a game for us to check out, for us to play. And if you're playing along with us, like leave some reviews. Those are really fun. Come over to the Discord. We are definitely available. I'm really disappointed. I only had one person hit me up for a Sable Steam key. And I said DMs were open, but
oh my god.
Mr. Chance for a free game. I did fulfill though. I did I did give him his game. It was Toby though. Love you, Toby. The nominations.
Why you say though?
Well, I mean, like Toby's like, he's #1 Video Game Club fan, probably pretty close to it
for sure.
But
one of our biggest supporters on there.
Yeah, he's an OG. Yeah. The nominations for this episode were Ghostbusters, the video game, Catherine Classic, and I'm Scared. And we're gonna talk about Catherine Classic, not Full Body. No one here played Full Body, right?
Correct.
No.
We will touch a little bit on Full Body. What?
About the picks, I'm Scared got like a massive update after years of not being touched. Like
really?
Right as that went into the picks, I was very surprised.
Maybe the devs are listening.
You impelled it. You brought it about.
There you go. I manifested it.
Yeah, it was all you. So Catherine Classic. It's a puzzle game with some heavy, big story elements to it. It was developed and published by Atlas, well, in most regions. The PC version was published by Sega, and the PAL version, or EU, was published by Deep Silver. Atlas, it's a company based in Japan. It was founded in 1986. The newest game they released is Soul Hackers 2. Has anyone played Soul Hackers 2?
No,
me neither. But it looks cool. I want to check it out. They've also, they've developed and published several big games like the Persona series, Shin Megami Tensei, Etrian Odyssey, and many more.
Trauma Center?
That sounds right.
That sounds right, yeah.
I love Trauma Center.
They also did a competitive jigsaw puzzle game on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
what?
I played that at Austin's house. It's awesome.
It's called Pieces. It also supports the multi-tap for like a 4-player co-op mode where you're like trying to get more points than each other but working on the same puzzle. Like there's
cool.
all sorts of cool stuff in there.
That game is good.
Don't they have... Yeah, it is Trauma Center. Don't they have a reputation as having... It's an Atlas game. It's a tough game. Expect to be miserable.
I haven't ran into that. Like but I've only played like Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. So
it's an Atlas game. That's like a refrain.
I've never heard that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an older thing.
Mox, did you play through Shin Megami Tensei 5?
No, but I played the remaster of Strange World, something like that, which was probably my favorite one. I've played little bits and pieces of, I don't know, so many of them, but that has been the best one.
I really liked what I've played so far of Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I played a lot of Persona 5. Haven't beat it. That game is insanely long, but I am going to play through Royal whenever it comes out on Xbox this month. It's coming to Game Pass. Yeah. Okay, so this game was released July 26, 2011 in North America. Came a little bit earlier in Japan and a bit later for the rest of the world. And it was originally on the PS3 and Xbox 360, and it came 8 years later to the PCs.
Finally.
And it was called Catherine, just to begin.
It was, until Full Body came out. Yep. So, 2011 in gaming, we had the 3DS.
Yeah!
Did you guys buy launch 3DSs?
No.
Same.
No, I waited.
I hope nobody did.
God, it was so expensive.
And there were no games for it.
There were no games.
But then you got to be an ambassador.
I did buy before the price drop, like right before the price drop, they announced the ambassador thing, and I was like, oh, well, for that, I'll pay $250 for it.
Oh my God.
I never launched any of those ambassador games because they ran so poorly.
Aww.
All the GBA games, you couldn't put the system into sleep mode, and the screen was went super dim when you played them. It was so weird.
It's really weird.
Yes, it was very bizarre.
That's crazy.
My college roommate was an ambassador. I thought he was the coolest guy ever.
Yeah,
I got a free shirt at an event.
Really?
They were like, come back each day and play the games to get tickets. They kept running out of tickets, and the last day I was like, I keep coming back. I'm like a super fan, I promise. And I showed them like all the games I had and the ambassador like icon I had, and they were like, what size shirt do you wear, man?
Aw.
It was nice.
Take it.
Not worth $250, but
take a shirt.
It was a good moment.
Also, 2011, 11/11/11, Skyrim came out.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, Batman Arkham City, Portal 2, Skyward Sword, Gears of War 3, Dead Space 2, many more games, and 2 games I'm pretty sure that we've played for Video Game Club.
Shoot.
Axiom Verge.
No.
I'm going to be right someday.
One of them was
2011.
Was a 3DS game even.
Oh, Mario World, whatever.
Super Mario 3D Land.
I thought that was the following year.
I think that's 2011.
I thought it was a launch title for the 3DS.
It was not a launch title. It came out a lot later.
Sorry for my typing. I need to check.
Maybe it was November of that year.
When was this game released? November 2011.
There you go. Okay.
And
then the other one.
It's made by the people that made Hades.
Oh, Bastion.
Yeah, Bastion.
Wow.
That game was cool.
That's so long ago.
I know, right? I mean, this is
years ago.
This is, yeah, but like, if it's also like been a long time since we played that game too. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Chris was around. Miss you, Chris.
Yeah.
Miss you.
Love you, Chris. So how did it how did it review this game? Gosh, can't talk today. Mostly positive, 7s and 8s.
Really? Oh my goodness.
People really liked the story. They liked how mature it was, how like it covered like serious topics and it dove into like a lot of different things. They liked the puzzle elements and that they thought the villains were really cool. Some things that people didn't like was the difficulty, especially when the game first came out. So when it first came out in Japan, the difficulty was like, it was apparently had no easy mode. And so they added that when they brought it to the West. And then also some people had like issues with the camera as well when they were like climbing puzzles and fighting bosses.
Oh, I mean, you can
Go ahead.
Like, yeah, look around the puzzle and you can't put the camera behind the
Oh yeah. It's great. Or whenever a boss is going to do a special move and you're trying to climb and it's like, oh, did you want to see where you were going? No. Well, watch my animation. I'm about to ruin your whole career. The game did sell over 1 million copies by 2017 though. So, I don't know, pretty successful for a puzzle game. So, let's talk about the gameplay of this puzzle game. Catherine. You play as Vincent Brooks, who's torn between 2 women in his life, his long-term girlfriend, Catherine, and his new fling, Catherine. One is with a K, one is with a C. And if you play full body, one is with a Q, but we'll talk about that later. It features a day and night cycle. During the day is when some story elements happen, like I guess all the more heavier, like all the main story elements happen. It usually takes place in a bar, and there's a jukebox in there and a little mini game that you can play called
Sheep?
Rapunzel.
Is it called the Stray Sheep?
The Stray Sheep, yep. And if you drink enough of your alcoholic beverages that you're given, your adult beverages, you'll be told a little bit of trivia.
It also makes you faster during the nighttime sections.
You're kidding.
It does.
No.
They
tell you that.
Were you not drinking?
No, I don't drink. I only ever play myself in video games.
You only role play as you.
That's the only person I know how to role play as.
You also have a cell phone where you get text messages that you can reply to Catherine with a K and Catherine with a C. And then also
I really enjoy the text message,
me too,
mechanic.
I liked it. I wish it was you could see all your options instead of having to try one, erase it, try one, erase it, try one, erase it. Figure out that you've gotten all the options and then go, okay, let me get back to the one I actually wanted.
Depending on your actions in this game, there's a little meter that goes blue, which is I guess good, and then red, which is bad.
Order
Order and freedom. I know, but they don't tell you that right away. It's just known as good and bad, right? Or you have to put it together yourself. Red or blue.
Yeah, there's no good and bad.
It's implied though. One is a little angel and one's a little devil.
I guess, but I think conflating the meter, which is freedom and order, with good and bad, then makes it difficult to understand the endings that you can get.
True,
those are based on.
But they don't tell you it's order and freedom until the end, though.
Spoilers.
I thought they did. Okay, keep going.
Spoilers. Yeah. Did you guys play much of the Rapunzel minigame?
No.
I played a bit on the first night or the first day.
Mm-hmm.
That I could, and I got stuck, and then I was like, why am I playing this? So I didn't go back to it, but I feel like after I had learned a lot more, I could probably have gotten a lot further.
I played it every night or every day, and I thought something was going to happen. If I get far enough, something good will happen, which maybe it does, but I never got far enough, so.
There's an achievement for making it a certain amount of the way through.
Yeah, no, not.
I think it's 64 floors or something.
Gosh, not me.
I spent as little time in the bar as possible. I did not like it there.
What? Mox?
There were people that you could save.
I know. I talked to them and they had nothing to say to me. They were, the game said, if you talk to people, you can help people.
So you have to sit with them to talk to them.
I did. I don't know. It was nothing was happening. So then I was like, I'm bored.
I also ran into that. I tried to talk to as many people as possible, and I thought I was helping them, but I guess in the end I wasn't.
I got an achievement for helping a guy.
What?
I saved his life. He did not, I think he was going to commit suicide.
Which guy? The reporter?
The reporter at the bar.
Okay, I could see that. I have been talking to that guy.
I did talk to the old ladies every day as well.
Yeah, I talked to the old ladies. I talked to the reporter. I talked to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then there would always be somebody else sitting at the bar, to the right of you.
Did you?
I would talk to them.
Did you guys play with the jukebox at all?
No.
Oh.
I actually didn't listen to the audio of this game for the large majority of it.
Not even music either? Nothing?
I put my headphones away.
Wow.
I know. I was really tired of the bell. I got so annoyed.
I thought the jukebox was pretty cool.
I liked the default music in the bar. The only thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is there is this stock sound of a woman laughing that would happen it would happen at the same point in the song every time, to where I thought it was part of the song, and then it happened during another song, and I was like, get rid of this stock sound. It always took me out of it every time. It would be this drove me nuts.
So that's during the day. Then there's nighttime, which is where you have to complete these puzzles with where you're climbing a tower. In these puzzles, depending on speed and some items that you find, like money and stuff, you can get a rank of bronze, silver, or gold. Did anybody get any gold rankings?
I did on the first couple.
What? Man, I must be really bad.
Oh, up until like day 3.
I went back and replayed the first level.
Oh, I should have done that. That would have helped.
Because, like, when you look at your ratings, they're like, you want to replay it? I was like, yeah, I can. Now that I know the tutorial level, like, I could definitely get a gold on that. That wasn't too bad.
I should do that. And then the stuff, the story pieces, like after you climb each staircase, there's like a little section where you can save and you answer questions in this confession booth.
And you learn techniques.
You can learn techniques, right, in this little area. And then there's also like some story stuff that you can connect to the daytime modes. Yeah. There's some additional game modes in the game. I didn't play them. There's Babel, which is like the only thing I didn't like look into it that much, but it appears to be like if you get gold trophies, you can unlock harder puzzles or like different puzzles to do.
I thought it was just like endless tower climbing, hence the name.
Oh, really? Oh, that might make sense. Yeah. And then there's the Colosseum, which is a multiplayer mode, which I did not play.
No.
Any of. Did anybody hear? No. No.
The worst part about the tower climbing is when there were other things in the way. Didn't see.
You just push them off.
Yeah, just push them off. Get out of here.
I waited for them to like end their own lives.
Jeez. What did you guys think of the the visuals of this game overall? Mox?
I liked the anime style. I liked how it was like anime, like drawn and kind of anime style stuff. And then there was like the in-game engine rendering thing. I liked the difference between them and how it kind of went between them. I expected, in some other games, they use it where the scenes that everything is going the same are the anime style, and the scenes where everything that you can change is the in-game engine. So it's kind of like, it takes you out of it because you're like, oh, I guess this is something I can change. But that wasn't always the case with this. Like sometimes they just had a full cutscene in the in-game engine, which I liked.
Yeah, I thought the visual style was really pretty. And I like that they used like some bright colors despite the theme being kind of dark. Austin, visually, this game?
It there were some like janky animations. I think they would have been fine at the time, but like now 11 years later, there were some spots where it was just like, okay, that sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb, but overall, I think it looked good. Like, especially during the block puzzles, like, you could easily differentiate between the types of blocks and stuff, which was good. Yeah. I did really like the anime cutscenes. I wish that some of the cutscenes, some more of them had been in that style.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the in-game cutscenes there would be a moment that would pop up, and I guess it wasn't a choice, but it would show you that like your choices had affected it by showing your meter. Like, okay, here's how Vincent responds to this situation because of what you've been doing. And so I guess that would have been hard to animate all that.
Yeah, more anime cutscenes would have been cool though, because it was really good. Moving on to the audio, the soundtrack was composed by Soji Meguro. He does
the Trauma Center.
He also does SMT and Persona as well. And the soundtrack was like a mix of classical music covers and then jazz. Are you guys big classical people?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Austin, classical music?
I don't listen to it for fun, but I know a decent amount of classical music. Yeah. I definitely recognize some of those tracks in here.
Yeah, I sing along to the Hallelujah chorus every time.
I was going to say, that was the most prominent one.
But I thought the music...
I did like the jazz, though.
Yeah, I thought the music was pretty good, but it wasn't, like, Persona level good, for me at least. Like, I don't think I'll just, like, oh, let me put on the Catherine soundtrack. But I put on the Persona 5 and 4 soundtrack regularly. I don't know. You guys know?
Nah.
I thought the... the jazzy stuff kind of gave me a Bayonetta feel. Like, between levels, like, when you're at... there's a bar that she'll go to. And it had kind of that feel for me, so that gave me good feels. I did like that music. I probably would not want to listen to the actual Nightmare, like the puzzle music.
No.
On a regular basis, because I can hear it in my head right now, and it doesn't leave my head very often. It just kind of keeps popping in. Ba-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. And then I died.
It takes so long to die.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think the one thing that really bothered me in the sound was in some of the sound effects during the cutscenes. Like, it seemed like there would need to be a voice line. Nothing would happen. Or, like, somebody should have kind of a reaction noise and they just forgot to record it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Vincent would be talking, like, in the bathroom. And his voice would sound normal for the first line. And then the rest of his lines would have, like, a reverb on them. Like, it's in the bathroom. Like, they would forget to apply effects and stuff like that. Just some little goofs and stuff like that.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the voice actors for Vincent and Catherine?
I liked the narrators better. I didn't like when you had like an overarching narrator and then someone who was a sheep that was like, "Hey, you're doing really well. You should try this technique." And then the narrator says the technique. It's like I don't need two, voiceovers there. I just one is good enough. And so it's a bit much.
I think I want to say I think it's Troy Baker, isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'll take your word for it.
For some reason, I don't know why I think that. Anyway, what do you guys think? So moving on to controls and interface, we talked about the camera a little bit already at the beginning and how that was brought up with reviews. I had a terrible time with the camera personally.
Yeah.
I think everyone probably shares that same feeling.
I didn't have a terrible time. I eventually just decided to give up on the idea of seeing behind the puzzle, even though sometimes they would put like paths back there. Yeah. I was just like, I'm not going to deal with those unless I really have to. And once I let go of trying to control the camera, I had a much better time.
You ascended. You just became one with the puzzle.
Yeah. This is what I can see. And that's that. But there's a moment where they're like, yeah, use the camera so you can see back there. I'm like, you can't.
I tried real hard. Like, I also didn't like when I don't know if you can use the stick, but I use the pad to move around on my controller.
Yeah, same.
I did play with a controller I don't know. I don't know if you could play this one, mouse and keyboard. When you are behind the stage, your directions kind of switch. And it isn't clear at what point it switches, and I can't tell you.
When you let go of the direction, then it switches. And it like that and a bunch of other things in this game, it seems like are unintuitive on purpose. And it's it's super frustrating when you first start out. Like a lot of things just don't work the way it seems like they should.
Yeah.
And by the end I was like used to all the weird stuff that it was like, okay, all this fits together for a reason, but I could not defend the reversed climbing controls when you're on the back, because there's never a point where you get used to that, and I feel like it's there just to make it harder. Like it's there to be hard to go around the back of things. I don't know for sure.
I never accepted it. Like I couldn't never get used to it, so I just struggled the whole time.
Well, like, so you move behind the thing, and so that's, let's say right, and then I hit right one more time, and then it goes to the left. And so so I'll hit right once and then hit left. And then I feel like he goes again to the left. And it's like, oh my God, which one is it? You pick. You just tell me. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, and like how I'm not sure if it's this smart, but if I tapped a D-pad, then I kind of face something. But if I hit it too hard, then I go on top of it. It's like, excuse me, I'd like to pull this block.
I could not get it to behave. I would try to face something and always hop on top of it, and like every once in a while it would work correctly, but it was like sometimes the thing that I would step on top of was a spike trap or something that was going to kill me if I didn't. I just want to face it. It's so sensitive.
Yeah. The controls were really weird, and I think Austin, I think you nailed it when you said like, yeah, maybe it's on purpose, and I don't know, like.
Yeah, it's like other things, like you can't hang off of a block if there's another block below it. You have to go, like, leave the block on a side where there is no block below it.
To hang.
You can climb around to where there's a block below, but you can't get to that state while from that side. It's super weird stuff like that you have to kind of get used to as you're going through.
I got really mad Well, I got stuck on the ice puzzles because they're like, oh, just hang and move around that way. But you can't just press like circle to get into hang mode, like you said. You have to jump off of something. But then with the ice, you just like careen off of something. Ugh.
Mm.
Yeah, you can't like you can't go sideways a block to go to one where you can hang off of, which I guess is where that complexity gets added. Like that's probably part of why they added that rule of you can't hang off of a block when another one's below it, just to add that extra little jab.
Yeah. It's the controls are, it takes some time to get used to them. I also like use the D-pad, and I tried like the stick, and then I found out that for me like the D-pad was a lot better to use for some reason. One of the things that I do like in this game is that you can pause the cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
Which not all games let you
nice.
do that, and I don't know. I'm a big fan. Every game should allow you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if the cutscenes are going to be like on the longer side, it helps a lot.
That's true. Wait, but still with controls, like I find myself, I can read faster than they'll talk to me, and also if I don't care about the story, which I did not in this game, so I'll be like, oh, I want to skip through this text, but a lot of it is cutscene. It's not just like conversation, right. And you can't skip fast through text in a cutscene. And like, it's very slow paced. And if you don't care about it, like I didn't care about it, then it kind of just got frustrating. I ended up skipping cutscenes sometimes.
One thing it does.
There were also lots of odd like wording spots in cutscenes where somebody would say something and then the response was like, why are you saying that? Like this conversation's really awkward.
Yeah. The other thing is that the dialogue will auto, like it just goes forward on its own. So if they read it all out, and you may be able to turn that off. I didn't look, but usually it doesn't default to that. Usually it defaults to the other way, where you have to
progress it yourself. Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting choice. Now let's talk performance. So I played the Xbox 360 version backwards compatibility on the new Xbox, and it was great. Everything was good. But the PC version, Austin, how is that version nowadays?
It does not work on Steam Deck. I don't care what anybody says.
So, like, honestly, 4 or 5, maybe even 10 hours just fixing. Didn't work at all.
Even on like Windows, it's very sensitive. Like if you, so I have an NVIDIA card, therefore I have NVIDIA GeForce Experience or whatever. Which until I started playing this game, I did not know how to turn off the overlay for that. So I just was like, whatever. It doesn't ever get in the way. Mm-hmm. If you have an overlay for this game, it crashes. It just crashes. It's so sensitive. I tried to record it and it was crashing from that. So I had to record it in a different way. And then it would only record like cutscenes. And once it would go into the actual like in-engine stuff, the recording would just freeze on the last frame of the cutscene. And it would just stay like that for the rest of the recording. Different stuff like that. Once I offloaded the duty of recording to Tyler and like got it running, I had no more issues. Except for one. It performed great. Very well, very stable frame rate, like high frame rate, everything looked good. There is one boss where, as far as I can tell, they just changed the frame rate of the game for that boss. Like, I can't think of any reason performance-wise that it would actually tank that hard and that consistently, but it drops down so heavily that it's just weird. I don't know what caused that or why they decided to do that, but for one boss, the game runs at like 30 or less frames per second.
Odd.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Mox, what did you play on?
I played on my computer after I spent way too long trying to get it on stupid Steam Deck and was sorely disappointed, but I played it in a windowed window because it wouldn't work any other way. I never even I've always had the NVIDIA overlay turned off, but whenever I had it in like the full screen mode, for some reason it would just lag so much, but it worked perfectly in the little window.
Huh. Is full body on PC?
No.
Interesting.
It's only on Switch and PS4, I think.
Huh. So it sounds like if you own a PC and that's all you have, playing this game is not the most enjoyable experience. Like, it's doable.
Not without some, like, finagling.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. That sucks. Hopefully they'll release full body to PC or something.
Considering this came out, at the same time as full body, it seems like this was their response to having Catherine on PC, so I don't know.
Yeah. But they are bringing, they're bringing Persona series to PC.
Yeah, years later.
Yeah, but there's it could happen.
Maybe
There's
someday.
There's a hope. Small hope.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Exactly. So I'm going to throw on that spoilers tag so that Mox can talk about the story. So that we all can talk about the story. This game is told through a TV program, which definitely I thought had like Twilight Zone vibes to it.
Oh, I could not get enough of what's her name? Midnight Venus.
Yeah, the girl with the big afro.
Oh God, I love her.
That fro is legendary.
The only good thing about this game. Trisha, Midnight Venus.
At the end, whenever they're wrapping everything up too, it's just so great. So we already said that, you play as Vincent Brooks or whatever. You're torn between these two girlfriends.
Well, you quote unquote accidentally cheat on Catherine with a K with Catherine with a C.
Yep. Which makes sense because, as you know, as everyone here knows, she's a succubus.
It's the only answer.
Taking the form of Vincent's most desirable person. The person that he would be most desired to, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you could have the perfect girlfriend, what would it look like? Man, this game, there's all that in the story, right? There's just back and forth between Catherine with a C, Catherine with a K, and Vincent is. Can we just say this now? Vincent is a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's an awful human.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he does deserve what's happening to him in his nightmares.
It's frustrating because it's I want control over what's going on, and all the major choices are happening, and then they leave it to me well, now Vincent's in this horrible situation, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I want to not be in this situation.
Yeah. And then they okay, well, I want to tell him about it. No, you can't do that. You can watch Vincent lie, and then in the bar, you can be sad about it.
Yeah.
Well, I get really annoyed because in order to make the story 1% compelling that you would in some way choose Catherine with a C, they kind of characterize Catherine with a K as office, ambitious, stepping on, Vince all the time, making fun of him. And it's ugh, this is tired.
Yeah, they kind of intentionally chose a voice actress who was a little bit grating and was I'm going to take control of all your bank accounts and you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was okay, you're not. I don't know about you guys, but for me it was there was no appealing option.
And I'm pregnant.
Yeah. I was just okay, let's maybe break up with both of them and go work on you.
Yeah.
How about that, Vincent?
I know. Get you some therapy, Vince.
And it's not. There is an option for that at the end, but during the time that you're playing the game, you feel you just have to choose between one of these two people. And if you choose Catherine with a C, you're a piece of trash. And if you choose Catherine with a K, everyone's talking she's awful. So it's a lose-lose, I feel like. It didn't feel good. Did you guys ever make a decision where you're yeah, that feels good?
No.
Same.
I liked texting and I felt okay, because all I was doing was trying to get all order, which I think was a purpley blue color.
Mm-hmm.
And I was okay, we're maximizing this.
That's what I did as well.
It's the only fun I could have out of this stupid game.
The same.
And it wasn't always clear either. I don't know. The answers I get, I'm thinking of the answers at the end of stages where you have to pick between these two dumb things in this question that has nothing to do with the story at hand. It's just supposed to characterize you as an order person or a freedom person. One of them was oh, you've been told you had high standards. And I think the one saying, yeah, I've been told I had high standards was a freedom choice, which to me does not make sense. Anyway, I got upset about that.
Yeah. So you're going along, you have these nightmares, you obviously we already know, but the people, they die, right? Like if they die in this nightmare, they die in real life because there's all these murders happening, all these like weird little things, which reminds me of Persona a little bit because of the whole.
Don't spoil.
Okay, I'll stop. But there's a bartender at the Stray Sheep called the Boss, or Thomas Mutton.
Always wears sunglasses.
He does always.
Hey, spoilers on that.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we're in spoilers.
Yeah,
They kept showing Thomas Mutton quotes, and I was like, "Who's Thomas Mutton?" But that's a clever person to bring in for this. Then it was like, "Oh, it's the Boss."
Yeah,
all these were made up quotes.
Ugh.
The Boss. It's funny how the Boss is the boss as well. Get it? Get it? yeah. So clever. But the like the big theme, like why this is happening is, and I'm curious like what you guys think of this theme, is like that these people are never gonna have like, they're not gonna be proper mates anyway. Like basically they're not gonna be able to have like good families or whatever, and like reproduce.
They're not committing to their relationships, and they're just kind of stringing along women who are otherwise fertile and valuable to society.
Yeah, but they bring up fertility, which I thought was like, that was like one of their points, wasn't it? Didn't he talk about fertility specifically?
I think he was saying that like it was fertile women that were being strung along, and like these guys were, since they weren't committing, they were taking otherwise fertile women out of like the dating pool, and like the possibility of
new life,
stopping them from reproducing, which is a very, very weird, weird perspective.
Yes, it is. And so because of that, they take them on this crazy path to be destroyed, or to die. And the thing that you also learn, which was just wild, is that Catherine is a succubus that was like made by the Boss to confuse, to like lure him away from Catherine with a K, to lure Vincent away, right? On top of it. Yeah. So we're not going to like hash out the whole story, but let's go to the endings. And I'm curious, what ending, Mox, you didn't fully finish, but did you know the endings, and like, were you going for one of the endings specifically?
Yeah. To end up with Catherine with a K, because that's the order ending. It's because I can only role play as myself.
Right, and you're so orderly.
It's the only way to be.
And Austin, what ending were you going for, and what ending did you get?
I wanted Vincent. I didn't know what the endings were. Mm-hmm. I wanted Vincent to leave both of them. I wanted him to break up with Catherine with a C.
Wow.
And set that straight, and then be like, Catherine with a K, I've been doing this, and like, we aren't good together, and I need to go work on me. That's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. What I got was he ended up with Catherine with a K, because I guess I went order. Because it was like, be good to the person you're with, but also when it's not working out, it's not working out. Break up. You don't have to. Anyway, it did not go where I was hoping it went.
So did you get the good ending or the true ending for Catherine with a K?
I got the good ending because I answered, like, when I looked up what the requirements were, I answered one question wrong at the end to get the true ending, and I'm fine with that. So I didn't get married.
Right.
That's good. That means they can still break up, and Vincent can go work on himself.
Yeah. Like Catherine with a K has like a bad ending, a good ending, and a true ending. The bad ending is that she's like, no, Vincent, I'm not going to be back together with you. The good ending is that Catherine with a K forgives Mutton and like Vincent after she forgives Vincent after Mutton and his friends are like, no, for real, Catherine, like the other Catherine, he never really had an affair and all these things.
Which is stupid, and they do address it in the cutscene. He's like, I mean, I still had an affair of the heart. Like, yeah. I can't deny that. And it's like, that's yeah, it didn't happen physically for real, but effectively that changes nothing.
Yes. And then the true ending, which is what I got, they get married, which had I known of all the endings, I would have gone with the freedom ending. But the Catherine
Wow.
The Catherine with a C ending, the bad one is that you try to be with Catherine with a C, she refuses. The good one is that she accepts. And the true ending, Vincent becomes the king of hell with Catherine as his king, or as his queen.
And a harem of succubi.
Yep. Then there's the freedom endings, which is where Vincent realizes he does not desire marriage. You beat Boss or Thomas Mutton, and you demand a payment from him, which you bet on a wrestling match. And the good ending, you lose the bet, and then you go about your life. And the true ending, you win, and you use that money to go to outer space, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's right, the $80,000, like, oh, it had, like, an English, like, poster, and people talked about it. Space tourism, or space tour, or something like that.
Yeah. There's also a secret ending. You guys aware of this?
Is it like an actual ending, or is it like a joke ending?
It says in a secret ending unlocked, when the player clears the game's challenge stages, Trisha speaks directly to the player and reveals that she is Ishtar, with Astaroth having been one of her avatars. Tired of Dumuzid's infidelity, the events of Catherine were a test to find someone worthy of her love. She offers to make the player into a deity so that they can become her consort.
Love it.
That seems like that seems like the best ending of the game. Yeah,
but you have to beat
Trish's
Babel.
The Frozen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Midnight Venus.
Yeah, Midnight Venus.
That's the best ending by far.
So if going back, if like knowing all that you know about the story, everything that you know, what ending would your like preference be for this game, Austin?
I guess I would go to space, but I didn't like the context of that ending because his reason for breaking up with them is, I don't want marriage. And I was like, that's not... I just want you to grow up a little bit, Vincent.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to want marriage and know that you're not ready for it right now, or that these two people are not right for you. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But in general, aside from that context, I probably would have picked the go to space ending.
What about you, Max?
In reality, I don't really care, because this is like, it's not a compelling story. I don't like when there's not a good ending, like a quote unquote good ending, an ending that I'm like excited about or that means something to me. I couldn't tell if it was like making fun of infidelity or like actually demonizing it, or like, oh, we shouldn't objectify women, or like, oh, it's okay if they're a succubus. Anyway, so my answer is I could not care less. But I guess if I wanted to be a jerk and pick an ending, I really have to be the true Catherine with a K, because I feel like all the other ones are, I don't know, they're gross to me.
Yeah. I also would have gone to space, but similar to Austin, I wish there was an ending where Vincent just realizes that he's a piece of trash.
And goes to therapy.
Also, space is therapy, Mox.
Okay.
It's extreme retail therapy.
Oh, gosh, to the extreme. God. All right, taking the spoilers tag off. Going into our personal conclusion of this game, starting with you, Austin.
So, starting out, the puzzles were... So the story stressed me out because I couldn't make the choices that I wanted to, and it was just kind of like deal with somebody else's choices, and that was super stressful. The puzzles were not intuitive initially, and a lot of times weren't very satisfying to me, but by the end... when I had learned, like, there were some of the techniques you had to start using were really not intuitive at all. And, like, even once they taught them to me, they would show them in a video, and I'd be like, okay, well, I know I can do that, but they didn't give you, like, a practice spot. And so when it would come time to do it, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
By the end, I was starting to do stuff, like, on my own without really having to think about it, and it like all clicked, and it felt really good to be doing these very odd, unintuitive puzzles just like it was second nature. So hard to get into, but by the end I did really start to enjoy the puzzle stuff, and like I started having dreams about the block puzzles, and anytime like my eyes would close, I would just that was in my brain. The story was I don't think everything in it aged super well over 11 years, but for 2011, like looking back at the gaming landscape then and like the social landscape, it was very bold for them to try and do a game like this at that time. I think for the time they tackled some pretty tough stuff pretty well. I think now I'm interested to see the changes that they made in Full Body.
Yeah.
Because some stuff they really just like bang you over the head with. Like, there's like little subtle things, and they're just like, no, let's explain everything. I wouldn't have minded a little less commentary on that, but the voices, like both the all the voices, like all the voices had a kind of a low quality. I don't know if it was just the PC version, but like some of them would be kind of scratchy. And when you when I look back, Metal Gear Solid, I know I have talked some trash on that game in the past, but one thing I really appreciate about it is it's a PS1 game. It's on CDs. The voice lines in that game have like super high quality, and if you can do that on the PS1, I don't know why 360 and PS3 or a PC transition of that can't have that level of quality on recorded voice lines. I don't know if it was just kind of a low budget release because of the risky content that was in there when they were doing the American localization. I don't know. Overall, I liked it more than I thought I would, and but it does definitely have some problems. Like the one of the bosses, like early to mid game, is just it's super hard that you suddenly have to learn some techniques very quickly and like with a hard time limit behind you. And it was very frustrating.
And if it's the boss I'm thinking about, that there's like a massive spike of difficulty that then kind of goes away, which is really weird.
Yeah, it got a lot easier after that. And it's daunting. It can be really frustrating. There are certain levels. Night 8 really drove me nuts, especially because like once I was done with that level, I was like at the end, and there was the bell, and it was just like victory lap. Just keep going up the levels. And I rushed it, and they were like, well, you went too fast, and the other thing you have to worry about on this level is, game over, and there's no checkpoints for this level, so go back to the beginning. Lots of just little problems that kind of take it down a bit for me, so I don't have a desire to play Full Body, but I'd be interested to see if that kind of addressed some of my issues. And I don't know that I ever want to play this again, but I did overall enjoy what I played, and I would probably give this like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Mox, what about you?
I put off this game because you guys were like saying comments in our little Discord channel about how miserable things were, and I was like, I'm having a bad day today. I don't feel like dealing with it. So I put it off too long, and I tried it though.
Shame.
With the intention of playing as much as I could, but goodness, I got stuck, and there's certain kinds of puzzles I guess I'm better at, ones that reward like lots of thinking, but this is definitely one that you have to think on your feet, and I guess I'm not as good at that as I am on like the real strategy puzzles. Like Inscription, oh man, I could think, steps ahead, and I had the time, it wasn't timed. But this game, I don't know. And there's also a certain amount of dexterity too, and like learning the motions to press the buttons in the right way. In any case, I enjoyed I got stuck on the 5th night, but I enjoyed the gameplay up until then. The gameplay being the puzzles and then using your phone and then talking to people in the bar. But gosh, the story was very slow going, and it wasn't rewarding to wait for. And the text, like you guys had said earlier, there were weird things that were said. That I don't know, was it a translation issue or was it just like meant to be off the wall, or I don't know. It just wasn't. I didn't really care for the story, and although I liked the framing device, you only see a little bit of that, and they kind of don't bring it until the very end. So I liked the puzzles, but there definitely was the spike in difficulty, and I wish, like you guys said, that there were opportunities to practice the skills and techniques that you're supposed to learn, but there really weren't. I feel bad. I'll give it a 6 because I did like the puzzles that I could do, and I didn't mind like the gameplay that they built, but story just wasn't compelling.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, like you mentioned the framing device, the Golden Playhouse stuff, like I wonder if they had planned to do other games under that.
Yeah.
And then just never, like, those never came to fruition or what, but it seemed like they could have done other stuff with that in, like, a broader series of games that were, like, lightly related, or maybe not related directly. But I don't know.
I mean, when you choose a mode, the modes are either Golden Playhouse or Babel or settings, you know? Like, they should have referenced it more.
Yeah. I am glad that we played this game because it's one of those games that a lot of people really love and talk about kind of regularly. But I did not have that much fun with this game because of the controls, the camera. Like, I fought the camera quite a bit. And night 3, there's this boss that I hit that was just a massive difficulty spike that I was not a fan of. And that, it didn't really, I don't know if it ruined the game for me, but it was just like, oh, it's going to be a lot of, like, I don't know. It's going to take a lot for me to really get these puzzles and get this down. So after that, what I started to do, and I was getting very frustrated, what I started to do was I would attempt each level by myself until I got frustrated, and then I would just look up a guide. And then once I got past the part that I was stuck on, I would like close the guide, and then I would like try again and then come back and open the guide up, basically, if I got stuck again. And that made the game a bit more enjoyable because I wasn't getting super frustrated, and I was like learning techniques. But I was like, oh, I'm supposed to do that technique? Oh, yeah. Okay. And then I started to see it to where the final night I was able to do without the guide at all. Like I was able to fully beat the game.
Yeah, you've got all your techniques and everything, and you're finally good to go. It desperately needed a practice mode. Like, here's the new technique. You want to try it out? Like, set up a situation where you have to use it, and
or learn to recognize it. I had a hard time like seeing, oh, hey, this is that situation.
Yeah, same. But so the game wasn't really for me. The story wasn't very satisfying because almost all options are kind of bad. But I like that it's like it's a puzzle game with like a story. Like, we don't get a lot of those really. Like there's
Professor Layton. Yeah, and arguably all the Phoenix Wright stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, but that's if you take that that compared to like how many first person shooters we get,
You're right.
Stuff, it's way different. So, but I'm not like a huge puzzle fan. Like, I know I talked at the beginning about playing Picross and stuff, and I played Tetris Effect, and but I never got like super into puzzle games for some reason. So for me, this game is a 6 out of 10 as well. I'm glad we played it, but I don't have any need to like really play it again. And I don't know if I would recommend it to anybody.
I wouldn't. Unless
they were like, I'm looking for like a puzzle game where like the story's kind of, I don't know, not enjoyable. Like, oh, I got a game for you.
I think one of the things that was really frustrating for all of us about the story is like, it was hard for us to relate to. Mm-hmm. Even though Vincent is this 32-year-old guy working in an IT job, and I was like, yeah. It's very, very close to being Tyler, except Vincent just like doesn't have anything about his life together, and so like
he's also not likable.
He's not likable, and like when I was younger when this came out and I first initially started it, like I think I related to it more because I was in college and like my life wasn't together, and so maybe I just needed to be younger, or just if I was in a different life situation, then I could relate to it more. But as like where I am now, it was very hard. It was just like, why are you making this decision? Why are you doing that? That's a horrible idea. I'm getting no enjoyment from this. Like, what? Stop it. This is just stressing me out.
Will you please be a mature adult? No, I will not be.
That's such a big ask.
I don't like Catherine with a C. I don't like Catherine with a K. Vincent, just get out of both of these relationships for the love of God.
Get a gym membership. Go start walking around outside. Like,
get some therapy.
Figure out your life. You have a good job.
He must make like decent money, so you're in a good spot. All right. So that was a little dive in our take on Catherine Classic. And if you enjoyed hearing us discuss and want to join us for the next video game club episode, stay put, because our vote just ended, and it was between Resident Evil 2 Remake, Dead Space 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and the winner is Dead Space 2.
Oof. Hey, wait, is this the first time we've played a 1 and a 2 in the same, our video game club?
Yes, ma'am. Pretty sure.
I think so.
Exciting.
First sequel.
1E and a 2E and a
we did play a 2E before.
Didn't play the Kazooie.
We should remedy that and play the 1E.
I'd be okay with that.
Gosh. Well,
don't gosh me. Banjo-Kazooie is a masterpiece.
That's what people said about Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's not going to be the same issue, I promise.
All right, Austin. Well,
if you don't like it, it will be for different reasons than Banjo-Tooie. I promise.
All right. Hold you to it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, just as a reminder, you can catch us here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV every 2 weeks at 2 Eastern. The next stream will be on October 30th. Ooh. And if you can't make the live session, don't worry. You can find it on YouTube, all major podcast services. Austin, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Mox, I know you were dreading it, but you did play to the ice level, so thank you so much for doing that and joining us.
Thank you. I tried. I did.
Oh, and to anyone who stayed till the end here, we might have a special returning guest for next episode.
Ooh.
So be on the lookout. But I'm Tyler, and this was Video Game Club, episode 57, Catherine, and we're out.